Hello, so hopefully I'm live and hopefully this mask has a good enough voice diaphragm that you can hear me for the start of the stream. I'll keep this on all that long. But yeah, new mask, I haven't done a video on it yet. It came, I think it was Friday. So just see. Alright, cool. Happy birthday for them, Hunter. Obviously it's still 5 days away yet, isn't it? What day is the 16th? Is that Thursday or Friday? Friday. Well, happy birthday to you then, okay? My birthday's not till October, but there you go. So, can you hear me with this mask on? I just find them quite interesting, Sergeant Reznov. Don't know if there's actually a good technical answer for it, so I just find them interesting. Right, that's good. So basically, I don't know exactly what sort of voice diaphragm this mask's got. No, that's good. Yeah, because I didn't know how good the voice diaphragm would be, because I haven't done a normal video on it yet. I'll be doing a video on this mask probably either tomorrow or Tuesday. But this is the Climax 731 apparently. They're on eBay as like new old stock for like £30 odd. No, it's Spanish apparently. Made in Spain. Yeah, it's a cool colour, isn't it? It's like a bright red orange sort of colour. I think it's actually red, and it might just be the webcam making it look orange. It's like purple and red. Sort of like Sillet Bang kind of colours. Yeah, the Shalom 401's fine. Alright, good luck with those, Peach. How many are you doing? If it's a new one, that guy, no, I can have a look now if you like. But I don't actually check Twitter very often, because I only use Twitter to PM a couple of people. I've only got a couple saying follow you and somebody likes your tweet about a stream. The last ones I've all replied to. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream because it does help me out. And if you look below, hopefully the S10 merch is actually showing up on the Teespring banner, sort of, whatever they call it. Don't use the filters that come with the shuns, but otherwise it's a good mask. You can use it with binoculars and scopes. I assume this is polycarbonate as well, that bit. I'll show you what the mask looks like on the inside. The only thing I don't like with this is the neck strap. It's nice it has a neck strap, but this is really cheap feeling plastic. Like the regular straps aren't, but that's really cheap feeling plastic. So, yeah, that's what the inside of the mask looks like. Ignore any dead skin of mine I've managed to put on it so far, because new masks literally attract dead skin like a magnet. But there you go. See if I can get that so you can actually see out of it. Yeah, it's a pretty good field of view, as you can see. Not much distortion to the vision. Cheers, Peach. I saw you bought one. I've bought an S10 mug and an S10 hoodie that I'll have so I can wear them for videos. But I'm assuming, yeah, that big bit there is the voice diaphragm. Well, that would be the cover for it. I don't know if you can actually see what's under there very well. But yeah, this is definitely an orange-red, like people were saying, in like a purple mask. On the video, it might look black, but it's actually purple. It's like dark purple. So it's an interesting colour. Yeah, if you want to see the bit on the side, if it focuses on the webcam. Made in Spain. So I'm assuming this mask was made in 1998. Because I can't find another date on there. So I'm assuming this mask was made in 98, and then it was obviously never used by anyone. And then it's been sold sort of as a surplus. Yeah, it all seems pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, Sillet Bang. Yeah, because that's actually like a purple kind of colour. It's like dark purple rather than black on the webcam colours. It'll probably just look black. I do both YouTube and work weekends, Connor, so I've been working today. I'm a bit tired at the moment because my ulcerative colitis has been flaring up, I think, since about Thursday. Today's not been as bad as yesterday, but sort of Friday and Saturday were quite rough. Thursday wasn't too bad. Today's not been as bad, so I'm hoping it was like just a very small flare that's already on its way down. Well, the thing is, when masks like this, you get them like, you know, that. They come in a bag like that. They're obviously brand new. This just comes in like a drawstring bag. That's some instructions, actually. Ah, there's a good kind of disassembly diaphragm kind of schematic on there. So let's see if we can see if there's actually a voice diaphragm on it rather than just a valve. As you said, you can hear me. I assume there must be. I'll go back to the chat in a moment. I'm just seeing what the instructions say, in case they mention anything about yeah, the mask has an expiration date of 5 years. So yeah, that's not a very long expiration date, is it? But it still obviously works fine. It did an airtight seal when I checked it the other day. But stuff like this, because they have to give them short dates for like you know, ensuring nothing goes wrong with them. It's just called Face Mask 731. Don't store it below -10 degrees or over 70 degrees Celsius. So that's going to be pretty hard for me to manage that. Thank you, Laser. Yeah, let me show you it. Thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that. Yeah, so this is the lovely orange and purple Climax 731. It's not a name I remember easily, but yeah, I think I prefer the Spaziani to this slightly, but this is another very nice seeming full face panoramic mask. Obviously new old stock kind of stuff, because as I was just looking in the instructions, it said it lasts 5 years apparently. Obviously they last longer than that. So that's the inside of the mask. You can see my dead skin's already gone onto it like a magnet, because these masks do nothing but attract dead skin off your face. Whether or not you could market that as a beauty therapy, clean the dead skin off your face by taking masks on and off for a while, I don't know. But yeah, so let's put this filter in. It came with its own filter as well, which is actually in date, which is nice, but it's not an ABEC one, sadly. It's just like a P3 filter it came with. But yeah, the only thing I don't like on it is this neck strap is really cheap, nasty plastic. Again, I don't think it's going to rip anytime soon. It's just a shame that it's got really nice rubber straps, but the actual neck bit isn't. But oh well. So let's get him on. So there you go. That's the mask on. As you can see, pretty good field of view. Fairly comfortable. Very nice soft rubber. I assume it's silicone. But yeah, much better than the pewter, because these straps aren't going to break anytime soon. Probably thousands, Connor, in total. Yeah, so I can't actually see a proper voice diaphragm on it, but I assume it's just built into the exhalation system somewhere between the exhale valve inside and the cover there. I don't really want to pull the metal apart on it, as it's brand new. So, yeah, just to do a pressure check, just to check it is working. Yeah. There you go. I might eventually do replacement filters for the PBF, but at the moment I've done a video on the M65, and I showed that in another stream with replacement filters. But let me just, do you mean 3M rather than M3, sorry? Yeah, they might work. This is the filter it came with. It's quite a nice AVEC one in a plastic bag. Not AVEC, sorry, particulate. I'll tell you what, I'll open the bag on it just because it's only a particulate filter, it's not really going to expire. So, interesting filter cap system. It's just literally a plastic plate kind of thing. There's that cap. You know, I'll just bin these because they're just cheap bits of plastic. But, yeah, it's just obviously a paper HEPA filter, as you can see in there. Obviously it's just a particle one, not an AVEC one, but you can see the ridges of it, so it looks like a fairly decent HEPA. Looks like you get good airflow through this one. Let's try it. Well, I assume what they've done with it is they've basically got a particle filter like this one. It's got a load more to the case for some reason. I don't particularly know why. Because, yeah, there's a load of dead space in there, but it's a cool looking shape. I was just seeing if you could get this plastic cover off, but I don't think you can. No, never mind. Anyway, let's just try it. There's a nice new plastic smell to this filter, I'll say that. It reminds... Oh, this is a really nice smell. Sorry to be distracted by the smell of a filter. But the smell of this filter reminds me, sometimes when you buy like new DVDs or games, they have a really nice kind of smell. When, you know, I think it's the instruction booklets in them. Like back when, you know, you used to get 360 games and PS3 games and all those sort of things. PC games with like the, you know, the case and the manual. But yeah, seems quite nice. It could be any Mascandra. Again, it's down to opinion a lot of the time. Sort of is. I think the problem is I might have this strapped on up too high. There we go. That's better. Yeah, the oral nasal cup is, I think, because it's one that ends up moulding to your face the more you wear it, like with the Spaziani one. So it means they're really nice oral nasal cups when you've worn the mask enough. But until that point, they're not the most comfortable because they're kind of a bit like a memory foam thing. Also, I might clean the inside of this because, for whatever reason, there's like a little bit of... See if I can get that off. Oh, there we go, it's come off. What that is there was kind of an inner layer on the inside, because the inside and outside of this mask had a kind of removable plastic layer, you know, to stop it being scratched in storage. So a bit of that still stayed on the inside. What was I going to say? Sorry, I've got distracted there. Yeah, the oral nasal cup on this, it's one of those ones that I think is kind of meant to be like a rubbery material that will, the more you wear it, the more it molds to your face, because the Spaziani does that. So each time I wear the Spaziani, it does get more comfortable. But there's almost no fishbowl on it at all, Killstrike. I don't know why we were able to see that on the camera. But, oh, my fan's revving up, but there you go. As you can hopefully see, there's not really any distortion. I mean, as I move that left and right, you can see there is a little bit, but it's not bad. If I put it like that, hopefully you can see that it's not like a GoPro lens or anything like that. Yeah, the stuff at the edges is slightly magnified, but it's not bad. Which mask was that, Maxi boy? Sorry. Was that on the stream I showed it? I can't remember now. What mask did I show on Friday? Was it the M65? The Chinese one? The VM44? I can't remember what I showed. Let me click my live stream tab and have a look. I can't. It's not even in the thumbnail, so I don't know. Chinese panoramic mask. Oh, oh yeah, like the 3M style one, because he has the ones, doesn't he, with both the bayonet ones on and the 40mm. And I've just got the one with the 40mm. Well, I've been working, Jasmine. My ulcerative colitis has been flaring up a bit recently, but today it's not been as bad as yesterday. I think it started Thursday, and so Thursday was like minor discomfort. Friday was quite bad. Yesterday was quite bad. Today's not been as bad. So I'm hoping it's just been quite a small flare and it's sort of on its way back down again. But I've been quite tired as well, because sometimes when you get a flare up, you get really fatigued from it as well, just because it sort of saps your energy. All right, cheers. I mean, I'm hoping it is, because it just seems to be like how the trend goes. Yeah, so that's the Finnish M61 V3. Yeah, $60 for that and an NBC suit isn't bad at all, because you're paying like 30 for the mask, 30 for the suit, aren't you? Which isn't bad, especially because I know a lot of stuff like that costs more in America just due to the import. It's a GP5 without the filter, so it is literally that. Yeah, he wears that in Dead Man's shoes. Yeah. All right, cheers, Tupac. It really depends what you've exposed them to, JTP guy. And the USM 17, it's a good enough mask for a cheek filter mask, but I don't like cheek filter masks very much. Also, if I missed questions from anybody, just repeat them, because obviously where I was talking about that mask, I've been a bit distracted. Yeah, GP5 is fine for fun, just don't use the green filter that comes with it. No, Joseph, you can carry things on you that could be used defensively, but if you carry anything for the purpose of it being a weapon or self-defense, then it's illegal. So again, it's I know that's a bit of a vague answer, but it depends on there's certain things you can carry, but if you intended to carry them as a weapon, then that would be illegal. Yeah, when you mean carbon filters, do you mean just like regular NBC filters? Yeah, I've got quite a lot. When I was showing these ones in the video, I've just been showing the particulate filters, but yeah, I've been the box this came in, but apparently, according to the box, this is in date till, yeah, it says on the side 2024. If it focuses, but it's only a particulate filter, so they don't really expire. There we go. So it runs out 04/2024. So April 1924. Now, I've got a room HEPA filter. So what that has is it has a HEPA filter like one of these, and it has a charcoal filter. So what that does is it just removes dust from the air and removes like odors from the room. No worries, Sam. Is that for like all across Thames Valley, or is it in a particular area? Because I know like one of their main HQs is Kidlington, isn't it? And I think they've got obviously like ones in Oxford as well and everything, isn't it? Yeah, it's just called a room purifier, like when I bought one, but the carbon bit is like one part of it. I'm kind of tempted, I know it's a bit pointless, just to see if I can actually get this bit of the cover off, but I don't know if it will come off. Oh, so you're saying, should you make a bunker in your garden, General? As long as you can legally do it and you're not going to get in trouble for doing it. If you want to do that as a fun hobby, why not? Elastic as in like cottony elastic? Not really, as long as you don't let them soak in water for ages. All right, cheers again, Laser. I'd say probably organic vapor or inorganic vapor, because I think they're the ones you're going to come into contact with. I'd say for most people, if you're going to ignore that, particulates are probably the most likely thing you're going to come across, like dust, asbestos, like sawdust, grinding dust kind of thing and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd say out of them, like regular ABEC things, probably either organic vapor or inorganic vapor, because most chemicals you'll experience, like bleaches, chemicals that are used in workplaces, are always organic vapor or inorganic vapor. So I can't really tell you which I'd think you'd come into contact with more, A or the B. But out of those, oh yeah, sorry, you did put P in there, didn't you? I missed that. Yeah, ABEC P. So yeah, particulate out of all the regular ones, but then out of actual vapors and gases, probably A. Just because I imagine a decent organic filter, like if you had an A2 or an A3 filter, that would probably end up stopping some of the other things in lower concentrations anyway. Yeah, is this the Russian explosion at like the thing where it's released radiation? I've heard a bit about that, but not much. Yeah, if they're like fumes that are big enough in terms of particles rather than being a vapor rich, it would stop them, yeah. Because obviously the HEPA filters in these, that's the point of them, that they essentially just block stuff from getting through, like dusts and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I might have to do a bit of research into that, Mike. I vaguely heard about it, but I didn't hear, too much. What do you mean about the rubber nose thing? Just literally the rubber bit on the nose where it worked? Like, is it uncomfortable on your nose or whatever? Do you mean like that? But $20 for a Finish M61 V3 is a good price, especially if it comes with a satchel. But both my Finish masks sadly didn't. Probably around the 130 mark JTP. I really can't tell you because I've not counted them all up in ages. But I would guess if you included all the industrial respirators, half-face masks and everything, 130 odd. Stun guns are illegal in the UK, Joseph, unless you're the police or whatever. But only they're allowed stun guns and tasers. No, the most likely thing, James, was when somebody suggested, which I'd probably agree with, that it was probably used in some sort of war game or military exercise where they had a load of them painted with the hammer and sickles on for people pretending to be the Russian troops for like an exercise. All right, cheers, Mike. I was just about to do that, but you got to it first. Right, basically, 2-pack for Fallout, all you need is a particle filter. Obviously, I'd still recommend a full face mask because it makes a better seal and it protects your eyes. But basically, a P3 filter is one like this or one like this. NBC filters typically have a P3 layer in the front. This is where you just have a HEPA filter that's basically in there, and what happens is fallout dust gets trapped in the filter so it can't come through to you and be inhaled. No, I've never made caltrops Iron Man. They were on about riots on LBC today, but I don't know if there's any stuff to that. What about the First Amendment, Donald Trump, the right to free speech? What about it? I was working out if the Fred pitch looks the same on these or not. To me, the Climax filter looks like it has a slightly different Fred pitch, but I can't just work out if that's like how the light's hitting it or whatever. Well, it depends. If you get a filter with the mask you buy 2-pack, then you'd be all right. At least for particle protection, because particle filters don't really expire. Well, in theory, General, right, what you can do with the filters, you can get at the insides more easily. So say you had a filter like this one, and you cut the plastic off the front so you could get at the HEPA. There was a theme stream I thought I was going to do in the week, and I'm trying to remember what it was, because somebody had a really good idea for a theme stream. I think it might have been, because I think Weapon Collector had talked about doing one with the sort of idea as well, just talking about like UK police and sort of all the stuff like that, like laws we have in the UK and stuff like that. Reading as in a book. There you go. Quite a famous one. Thomas de Quincey, Confessions of an English Opium Eater. Although, funnily enough, that doesn't look like an opium poppy to me on the front because they actually have purple leaves. Papus somnifolium, isn't it, I think, the opium poppy's technical name? Yeah, a Chernobyl stream might be good at some point, Sam. There's no reason I couldn't do a police one day in the week and a Chernobyl one on another day, because a lot of the time there aren't just themes in the streams. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't have it too specific, can you, Laser? Because otherwise, like you said, the chat will be so specific, lots of people can't contribute. But I think one might be quite good just to talk about like UK laws and like, especially when it comes to things like knives and some of the debates. You know, are knives like this legal with the flipper on, where they do the very vague legislation, and then everybody can do that. Oh yeah, I remember, Mike. I'm not meant to do that, am I? Because it makes it. I'm meant to do that every time I open this knife now because of the new legislation they're putting through. Whoops. Yeah, if you had an organic vapor filter, that would stop you smelling cheese. As in, your M1 filter's jammed on the mask and you want to get it off. The only thing I can suggest is if you can either put it in a vise and then twist it that way, or if you can get any sort of pliers around any of it, use pliers to move it. Because I find pliers are pretty useful when you've got something stuck somewhere and, by gripping it by hand, you can't get enough force. Yeah, the thing I like about the idea of doing a law stream is it doesn't get too political, where people keep going on about, oh, this is my favourite political party, why don't you like that political party? But if it's about weapons, it's more the politics I'm interested in, like banned and legislated items. What's the worst gas mask in the world? I'm trying to think if there are any gas masks that didn't work full stop. Like, ones that were designed and just didn't work, because they'd probably be the worst gas masks. Muskets technically don't need a license, as far as I'm aware, because they're considered antique-style firearms, or black powder firearms aren't considered like firearms, according to the law. But I think if you still went around and did stuff with it, they'd throw the book at you under a firearms offence, so there's that. That reminds me of that picture, Sam, where the bloke, have you seen that like comic one where the bloke's buttering his bread and then the cop's like, oh, you got a license for that knife? And he's like, oh shit. And then there's the picture of like the riot police kicking the door in. What about fish? Fish are alright. Yeah, I did Daltade. It was a bit expensive, but I got a 30 milliliter bottle of 300 mg coming. If they're funny and good memes, when they get to the point where they're just recycled over and over and over, no. I don't know much about them, but personally I wouldn't advise using old like Romanian or other communist block filters. Depends. Like salmon has quite an interesting taste. I'm not a massive fan of tuna. Cod and that I really like. Oh, that's cool. Wasn't there a thing in the States, James, where they made it really hard to get certain Russian firearms or something? Because I remember there was people moaning about that. I mean, not moaning in like the way of like they don't have a serious gripe, but like where they were saying it was really annoying that they couldn't get Dragunovs and things like that easily because the Russian guns were import banned or something. I'm not preparing for anything, Alan, sorry. Is that bone broth that Swedish, like, rotting fish? No thanks. But how would you use CO2 to power a car? Because surely the amount of CO2 you'd need in a tank inside the car to make it move a short distance would be completely implausible. Yeah, I've got one fish that survived years and years and years. Even though we said when the fish dies, we'll use the fish tank like something else, because it's a stubborn fish and won't die now. Obviously, I'm still looking after it properly, but it's one that's outlived its life expectancy. A rabbit and a budgie. That's strange. So as long as they sell them to another country first, then you can import them. That's very strange, isn't it? Right, you can stay on topic with the stream, George, or you cannot stay on. Up to you. Oh, THC is illegal, 2-pack. So I can't say if I'd recommend that or not, because obviously it's illegal, and I'm not going to say on stream if I recommend illegal substances to people. That's a good idea, Laser. I'm going to jot that down now. Yeah, I'm going to have to look through the house of really funny, smelly stuff. As in, like, with a gas mask on. Like, sniffing things with a gas mask on. Right. Let me remember where I've got my thing I jot things down on. It's very... It's probably the one that just says YouTube. This will be the one where I've got the suggestions on from people that I thought were good ideas, but I've never got around to doing, because I've never thought of a good way of summing it up into a video. One thing I will hopefully buy fairly soon, Chris, when the PC stuff's all sorted, as in when that computer's been delivered and all the money's taken out of my account and it's dealt with properly, so I can sort of see how much spending money I've got again, is probably getting one of those British Army flak jackets with the plates in that Bing recommended, because I've got a plate carrier, but he's got one of those, it's more like a flak jacket with just like metal bits over the vital organs. I'm not Polish, but pierogi, I've had pierogi. It's like a Polish pasty, isn't it? Oh, the thing is, Sam, I don't want to get into e-drama territory. I wouldn't mind doing a rant video if it's stuff that's not going to upset people that might actually have serious things. But if I get anything that's worthy of a rant, I'll say about it. I don't want to rant about what happened at work today, but I won't go into it too much. But as a lot of you know, I work in like a kitchen doing washing up sort of stuff. And basically where all the bins are, as in not when you bin stuff like the trash, where we actually do it in the kitchen, but what we have to do is a couple of times a day, we load up like a freight cage and we have to take it to where like all the skips are, like all the actual bits where they collect the rubbish from our site. And the problem is, because we're a restaurant inside a garden centre, like the garden centre are a separate lot of staff, and then like any of the other shops in the garden centre, because it's more like a shopping mall kind of thing, they're all different companies. And I had a customer going mental at me because she had a problem with another store in the like centre, and then she was taking it out on me. I was like, all I'm doing is taking this rubbish to the bins. It's like, I don't see how I can help you. I think it is the ECBA saying that, Chris. Yeah, it is the ECBA. Yeah. I'm going to have to get one, but it's like the modern one, not the old ones that were just the regular flak jackets. But yeah, it was the ECBA recommended, yeah. I don't know if the M10 filters are safe or not, Stefan. I've never seen a lab test on them. I've not done an air freshener test in a while, but I'll do a load of those in bulk at some point when I get round to it. Wow, what masks are they on Amazon, Jaden? I think there's fake masks on Amazon, as in like fancy dress masks, and there's old surplus masks on Amazon. Oh, isn't that kind of like why people use nitrous oxide in cars, Joseph? You know, when they used to have like on, if you've ever watched Mad Max, they always used to have like the nitros, didn't they, in cars? So I think somebody's already come up with that idea, but it's probably a bit more efficient than CO2. What is in masks for you to get, Doubt-Aid? What country are you in? Because other than the UK, I don't really know what's currently available on the surplus market. Oh, hiccups. L1A1 SLR is my favourite rifle. There's a lot of other guns I like, but obviously, sadly, I don't own any of them because of UK laws. But the thing I was saying about the CO2 is you need you know how much a car weighs, right? A lot of cars are like over a ton. They're like 1 to 2 tons plus. So the amount of CO2 you need to displace that, although it's on wheels, the amount of CO2 you need to vent out the back to actually, you know, get it to do that. Yeah, like I can sort of see the point of it, but you need to do it in combination with another source, wouldn't you? Just as a boost rather than. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in getting one, Chris, just because I was chatting with Bart about body armor today. And I was saying it would be quite interesting to get one of those because they're a lot more lightweight and practical, supposedly, than like the Mark IV Osprey I've got and stuff like that. Yeah, I was thinking more of the thing out the back, Richard. But I suppose when nitrous oxide is used in the engine, is that just to make it run hotter so it increases combustion? But obviously, my car's got a turbocharger on, and my old car had a turbocharger, and turbo and superchargers are kind of that principle. Turbocharger recycles some of the exhaust back into the engine to basically, you know, increase combustion in the engine that way. Superchargers where you've got like a fan bout on the engine that I think works a fan that causes more air to flow in the engine to increase combustion. What are you looking at, Stefan? The one there? That's the Polish EO14 or any like Warsaw Pact EO14s. Yeah, £50 is a bit much for Scott GSR. I paid a lot more for my GSR when I first got that, but that was back in like 2012 or something. So I paid, I think it was like £70 or £80 for it. But it was a pretty much brand new, fell off the back of a lorry, GSR. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind doing that at some point, Chris. So yeah, the idea at the moment is Chernobyl stream, UK law stream, and yeah, your armor helmet stream. Good idea. Let me just put these down. Smell test, laser point productions, streams, Chernobyl, armor, helmets, and what was the other one? My mind's going blank on me. Laws. There we go. Right, that's saved onto my text file. Yeah, because they put turbos in a lot of cars now just because it's good for fuel economy. Basically, if you had two cars with pretty much the same engine, if you put the turbocharger in, you get more performance without basically any cost on fuel because you're essentially recycling stuff. From what I understand, and I'm not all that into cars, so I am not the best person to ask on this by a mile, but as far as my superchargers work pretty much whatever rev band you're in, turbochargers are more efficient when you're like medium to high revs, as far as I'm aware, because that's when you've got more exhaust coming out. Well, it depends, because if you have a smaller engine with a turbocharger on, it's going to be more fuel efficient than an engine like a car with a bigger engine. Again, it's going to depend on the speed you're going and everything, but it's been pretty much a common thing here for all the eco cars to use turbochargers, because it does seem to do a good job at, you know, giving you more performance from a smaller engine in an all-round kind of good package. The katana's real, although it's like a modern one made to old standards. The rifles are real but deactivated. Yeah, £10 odd. Did you say you're in the UK or anything, Deltade? Because right, okay, Jacob. Like I said, if you know more than me about it, you know more than me about it. But as saying, in general, most cars now use it just because it seems to all round improve them for a lot of stuff. But yeah, if you're in the UK, Deltide, maybe you can get one of these or a Spaziani TR2002 for like the £30 to £40 mark. When you say tranny, Ricky, I assume you mean transmission, do you? Because over here that means something very different. Yeah, transmission, okay. We won't go into that. But it's like an LGBTQ term. If you can Google it and look up what it is, it's a bit of a slang term, but what the L1A1 SLR, that was a British built version of the FM Fab. Were Yugos good or bad cars? Because I've heard very mixed things on them. I suppose it depends how much you paid for them, probably. But yeah, I suppose it probably really depends, Richard, doesn't it, on how well optimized the engine is, what speed you're doing, and all stuff like that. Because it's like all the stuff where you can get supposedly eco cars, but if you don't drive an eco car well, you can get really bad fuel economy. Because one of my mates used to have the Ford Fiesta, I think it was, eco one, that's meant to be a really good eco car, but because he never drove it in an eco-friendly way, he'd get worse fuel economy than my old Golf Mark IV got. And that was a GTI, because the 1.8 turbo engine on my Golf meant if you put your foot down, the engine was more optimized for that. But with the old with his Ford Eco Focus, as much as if you probably drove that trying to be as fuel efficient as possible, would have got much better mileage than my GTI did, he could never get as good mileage out of it. I've got quite a few Polish gas masks. Flip or Philip, however it's pronounced. Let me see if I've got a Polish thing I can show you. Well, there's a Polish radiation detector there and a Geiger counter there. They're both Polish. Let's see, this will be a convenient one to get down here. Polish MP5 gas mask. There you go. Mask pole. What's the name of this filter? Because I'm going to be testing this one in the video as well. Oh, this is an FP211 as well. I guess Maskpol call all of their industrial filters for different uses FP211s with just different designations on. Because it's also an FP211 I've got that's the ABE filter. Yeah, Maskpol is the manufacturer. Maskpol is a Polish company that does masks and filters. I think they do other equipment like body armor as well, but like FP5 filters are made by Maskpol. What one, Samuel? The L1A1 SLR, literally Lima 1 Alpha 1 Sierra Lima Romeo. I think mostly people, Chris, to be honest, like I said, this is as far as I go into it, causing arguments with each other. You know, like pointless drama where really I think, like I've said before, if I'm going to try and be more mature and everything, I would say people ought to, you know, like watch each other's videos because you might learn something from other people's opinions. But I think, like, I can be guilty of this. You can start thinking your opinion is a fact on something where you start saying, I like this mask, so it's better than other masks and stuff like this. And then you get, lots of the stuff where because somebody's got a different opinion on a mask, other people think their opinion's not worthwhile. But as I said, I've not really taken part in the last couple of years in a lot of the different gas mask communities, just because I found too many of them started turning into arguments, all the same stuff getting posted over and over and over again. That's a good price for a... All right, see you, Philip, or Flip, however your name's pronounced. Yeah, £2 is a good price for a camo cover for a helmet. But yeah, the thing is, I used to go on the gas mask Reddit going back a couple of years ago, because what I used to try and do was offer people advice if I knew something about a filter or a mask, if somebody was asking for a mask being ID'd. But the problem was, when I ended up stopping using it was when just a lot of the posts were about GP5, and it might have changed since then. But I think when I said I wasn't using the Reddit anymore, just because I got a bit, bored of lots of similar posts, and lots of people were saying, oh, he hates us, all this, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't really that. It's just, at the time, it wasn't very well moderated. And I heard there were lots of arguments with, different mods on there and, all this sort of stuff, where really, I think if you're wanting to be in a hobby about something like collecting stuff, you should be nice to other people and, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, if you want to, Samuel, why not? As long as it's not some sort of weird porn type thing. But why not? Well, Rodriguez, as I was saying, I've got stuff from all over the Warsaw Pact and Russia, or Soviet Union, but I don't know what you mean by that, really, other than that. Well, Tabun would be an inorganic vapor, as far as I'm aware, McKinley. So an ABEC filter would cover you against that. Do Airboss do filters? I'm sure Airboss must do filters, but Airboss is that good Canadian manufacturer. If you've got an Israeli 4A1 just in good condition with a good filter on it, then it would work. Israel wouldn't manufacture them if they were useless. All right, you're going a bit over my head with all this now, Richard, but I'm assuming what you're saying in plain English is that there's pros and cons to having a turbo, and it depends what you're doing with the engine and the weight of the car and everything, Yeah, because that's the thing. Like I said before, I really hate the Scott GSR, but I don't want to say every Scott mask is bad, because I was starting to get kind of into that mindset. But since I've got the Scott M98, for those of you who don't know what the M98 is, let me show it. Oh, this was a thing I picked up at work today because we were going to throw it out. We had a delivery come in one of these nice plastic crates. So I've now got a nice plastic crate for storing some masks in until I find proper places for them. Yeah, Scott M98 is this one. And I really like this mask. I think the GSR is pretty terrible. But if Britain adopted this over the S10, I could definitely see the advantage in it. I mean, it's not as good, obviously, for looking through scopes and optics as an S10, but in general, Scott M98 is a brilliant mask. Cheers, Laser. Do you actually have the military one, Laser, or do you have it as the pro mask with the drinking tube replaced with something else? When Bart's next over, I'll ask him if he wants to do a stream again. Have you seen the new merch he's done? I finally got him to do the S10 merch. Ah, cool, you've got the actual proper military M98. Yeah, but when he's round, I'll get him to do a stream. He's at Arc Tangent this coming weekend. I think that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe Monday, which is a music thing. But, yeah, next time I see him and he comes over. As in, US Civil Defense Guy account, sadly not. But yeah, I'd agree with you, Chris. I think the problem is as well is, lots of people don't want to listen. The thing I notice with some people is there's lots of stuff where we have to speculate on information because you don't really know information on certain masks. You know they exist. You might know what country they come from, but you don't really know too much about them. And then sometimes you'll get people making statements saying this is a fact, and they won't cite any stuff where they've got that info. Because there's been a lot of arguing recently with a couple of people, and I mean arguing the nice way, where I've been saying, can you provide evidence or something with the PTM1s? Because I hadn't really heard much about PTM1s until recently. And there's conflicting info on those, but a lot of it isn't sourced. So yes, I know you could manufacture a PTM one at home, but I think there must have been industrial runs of PTM ones done as well, because apparently people in like Lithuania and that are finding crates of like hundreds of PTM ones in like, you know, crates like they find GP5s. So surely they must have had some sort of industrial run done on them. But some people are like, no, they were only ever made by people at, you know, like Babashukas in their commie block flats, knitting them together. So I really don't know. But, you know, it'd be nice if people would look into other stuff, I guess, without saying, no, you are wrong, I am right, because I've said this. It totally depends on the mask, Joseph. There are some military masks that are terrible and some civilian masks that are really good. Like some of these panoramic masks, I definitely pick these over personally for use in some military masks. But again, it totally depends on the mask. What's my favourite gas mask bag? The one my Czech M10M came in, which is like, I think it's a vinyl, some sort of vinyl. It's like some sort of rubberized vinyl coated on fabric, but it's a really good waterproof bag with lots of room in it. It's quite a nice looking bag as well. One of the things I do find interesting, Richard, is when people get really good powerful motorcycle engines and they put them in really lightweight cars and they get these really stupidly fast cars, because obviously it's an engine that I guess produces lots and lots of horsepower. Maybe torque as well, but you know, especially when they were cars that never came with very good stock engines. The only thing is, Sam, obviously, if you've got a civilian mask that's primarily made of materials like silicon, they're not going to hold up very well against things like sulfur mustard, lewisite, and things like that. Again, you could probably make a second skin for them and things like that. But again, if you just had a 40mm mask and you were putting really good filters on them, like, you know, NBC, CBR, and ABEC P3 kind of filters on, they're going to be pretty much equal. I've read Roadside Picnic, and I'll prove that to you. I've never read the Metro books, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, here we go. I have read this. I was saying I was looking for it, but there we go. It's on the bookshelf where I've actually got access to it easily. Yeah, there's Roadside Picnic. I've read this. But I found the thing, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but I actually found the thing why Roadside Picnic's called Roadside Picnic really interesting. So apologies, spoilers for the book, but it's not really a massive spoiler. It's like what a person speculates in the book. But like how, you know, in Stalker in the Games, for the people who haven't read the book, the anomalies because of the Chernobyl incident, and then that they built the sea consciousness and did all the experiments in the zone. In the book of Roadside Picnic, it's about where aliens visited Earth, and you get all these like weird gravital anomalies and things like that due to well, it depends what the apocalypse is, Stefan, but probably not. Going back to what I was saying, you get all these weird anomalies and everything because of the effects where the aliens have visited us. But I think I saw a few people asking it, so that's why I answered it. But the reason it's called Roadside Picnic is basically one of the characters speculates that it's like junk that the aliens have left behind, the artifacts. So they said it's a bit like if you had people drive off the road, had a picnic, and then they threw their like wrappers and cans into the bushes and drove off. The animals, when they come out of hiding, would see the remnants of the picnic people have had, and they'd have that to judge human society on or try and speculate what it is. They're saying that's what the scientists are doing. They think it's like the aliens have had a roadside picnic or like an intergalactic picnic. It's just I found that very fascinating reading that bit of the book. I'd never thought of alien visitation like that, but it's quite a good theory, I think. Yeah, tribalism, Chris, isn't it? It's just people picking arguments. The closest I can play to an instrument is a piano. I've got a piano over there, but you can't see it where the webcam is positioned. I did like GCSE music and that. I think I ended up getting a B for performance, which is like playing the piano, A star for composing. And then it ended up, I think, evening out as a B when I did the like listening exam, which makes up 40%, I think it was. But I've never done piano gradings or anything like that. And sadly, the pianos, I really ought to get back into playing it more. It's one of those things where often when I'm not in, I think, oh, I ought to play the piano a bit when I get in. You know, actually get back into playing it again. Then I never do. I procrastinate and do other pointless shit when I would actually be better playing the piano. But I've also got the theremin, I've got a violin, I've got guitars. I like buying instruments and then not doing anything with them. But the theremin I should really use to record some cool ambient music, because you can make some really cool noises out of a theremin. Yeah, I've got a Polish MC1 and a Czech CM3, Czech CM3, which is essentially the same masks. Yeah, pierogi was very tasty when I had it when I was in Poland. Like I said, it was like a pasty. What do you mean by GOA, Alan? But in terms of our military gas mask, good. It completely depends on the mask. Some are good, some are bad. Depends what you want it for. I really like the sound of cellos, Charles. Cellos and double bass are probably my favourite string instruments, just because of how deep. I mean, that's if we're not going to get really technical and say something like a piano is actually a string instrument, because obviously you've got strings hit by the hammers in a piano, or you could say a piano is a percussion instrument. I don't know which one you technically say. But yeah, I think cellos and double basses are probably my favourite sounding string instruments, just because of how, especially when you get that really lovely throaty wooden noise you get from some, cellos. What about pepper spray? You can't get pepper spray or tear gas in the UK, Joseph, if you're asking me to test masks with them, otherwise I probably would. Well, mostly eBay, Justin, but yeah, army surplus. Because the thing is with lots of masks is, like I was reading out in the instruction manual for like this mask I was showing here. Right, you'll get a mask that's produced. A lot of the time it will sit in storage, and then I won't bother quoting the bit on there again. But it says like a mask is meant to last 5 years. So the thing is with a lot of these masks, they make them, they sit in storage and never get issued. Then the time finishes on them, and then they basically have to get rid of them. So they can either throw them away or they can sell them in surplus and try and get some money back. Because basically what happens is, although the mask's still in perfectly good condition, because of like all the different health and safety laws and everything on respirators, which you actually want, because you never want to be issued with a respirator for your job that's not going to work, they have to play it safe. And the same applies to Kevlar and lots of other things. So it's good if you want to collect this sort of stuff, because they have to sell it dirt cheap, or else they basically have to bin it. When they go past expiry, they're not guaranteed to work, but I've got masks that are really, really old and still work, provided that you can still find filters that fit them. Sadly, it's not in this room, Jaden, so I can't get out easily, but I've got other videos on the XM2084. But the thing is, with a rubber mask, as long as all the valves and everything are good, there's nothing that's going to go wrong with it. Eventually, with a lot of masks, I think adhesives and straps kind of go on them. Nah, even if I did that and survived McKinley, I'm sure, I know you're joking, but I'm sure the actual government might then say, look, there's video evidence of you making chemical weapons. Well, it depends if you mean dosimeter or Geiger counter, British Gamer Guy, because again, there's a lot of crossover terms. The best dosimeter / Geiger counter I've got is the SOXO1M, in the sense that it does both functions. It will give you a current reading irradiation and a cumulative dose. I've got rebreathers, but I've never used them because they're very dangerous to mess about with scrubber units. But I've got that Polish radiation alarm there, which is kind of like a Geiger counter where you can't see a dial on it, and when it hits a certain radiation amount, it sets the alarm off. There's the DP66M Polish Geiger counter. That's an actual Geiger counter. There's the Mini Instruments one. That's a very good Geiger counter with an alpha probe. Again, it's only for real-time readings. There's the DKP50, which, again, like you said, is a dosimeter, but it only obviously shows you a cumulative dose. And apparently, Beastal was saying to me, and I think some other people had said this to me in the comments, which is really interesting. The old Soviet dosimeters, you can actually get a higher reading on them than what they'll show you. but because they didn't want troops to panic if they saw the radiation going up on them, they'd like only show you up to a certain dose. But apparently a technician can actually take a reading off of them and find out if you've been exposed to like thousands of Rontgens or whatever. The thing is with a lot of that stuff, Charles, supposedly if the batteries aren't in it and it's not turned on at the time, it's not really going to get its circuits fried. But lots of stuff apparently can survive EMPs. I mean, it probably depends how strong the EMP is. But apparently lots of modern electronics just basically restart if they get hit by an EMP. It's just like a small power surge. Depends which mask, Alan. The S6 was good. The S10 I really like. The GSR I'm not a fan of. In theory, if you got a GSR in really good condition, you might get on with it. I personally don't, because I find it very heavy and clunky. And there were lots of quality control issues with them when they first came out. Britain is supposedly paying Avon a lot of money again now for a gas mask. Whether or not it's the M50, the C50, the FM53, I don't know. But again, it depends. With most nations, they've had good masks and bad masks. Which Geiger counter you on about, Jaden? But yes, that one and that one work. That one can be a bit finicky. It doesn't always work. But this one is very good. I'll demonstrate it. Let's get that probe off so we can take an alpha radiation reading. I'm just going to put it on the check source on the side, which is a neurosimian. So as you can see, that's getting a reading. If I just grab something else, let's get some Fiesta ware, or maybe the thorium lamp mantle. Yeah, let's do the thorium lamp mantle. So this is an old lamp mantle with thorium in it. I've heard something like that, Chris. I don't know if there's truth to that, because there's a lot of stuff you hear like that where you don't know if people are making it up. But I know supposedly, I think the SAS used the FM12 or the CT12 for quite a while. I don't know what mask they're currently issued with, but apparently, like, you know, when they were going to the GSR, because the CT12 or whatever was meant to be a lot closer to the SF10, they stuck with that because it's basically an improved S10 style mask. Because I don't think special forces, well, it depends on what they're doing, but I suppose, especially in a counter-terrorism kind of, you know, like you're sieging a building kind of thing, you don't want a mask with like a big clunky mask. You want something quite slimline and effective. Interesting, Sam. Do you know where that was? I'd love to try and look that up. Let me just type in British Army gas mask or respirator and see if there's any like news articles from it. Let me just put CBRN gear in and see if that comes up with any news articles. 29th of May 2019. Oh, it's just a thing on Porton Down. Okay. I was just seeing if there was any like news article. 'Cause I know there's sometimes forces.tv isn't there that do like stuff like that. Royal Marines operating and training to operate in CBRN environments, but they've just got the GSRs on in those pictures. Okay. But yeah, supposedly, I know Avon, because it is like when they do all the financial things, quite often I look at stock market stuff. I know at one point, it was after the Salisbury stuff, there was a thing, you know, it was like one of the big news articles saying Avon had got like a multi-million-pound contract with the MOD for supplying respirators. Oh, just, you reminded me, Peach. I watched the first episode of The Boys before the stream, and I really liked it, so I might watch some more of that after the stream. Yeah, they use the M50 in trial. This is the thing that, this is one of the reasons I get kind of quite angry at the Scott GSR, is basically because you can actually find, I think they released them under Freedom of Information stuff. I've put a link to this in one of my videos, but basically they did the trials of the M50 and the GSR. The M50 wins the trials, but then because the GSR was cheaper, they went with the GSR. And then there was basically this, I think it's like where you can read up on the House of Commons things, you know, where they like debate stuff or they have all those inquiries. And they were basically saying, why is the mask not fit for service, the one that was picked? Yeah, I might end up binge watching it, to be honest, Peach. I just remembered to watch it today because Red Letter Media did a video praising it. Well, for free, an American Mickey Mouse mask, because it's like the rarest mask in the world. You know, you can buy a crate of GP5s for not much money. I wouldn't have much use out of having more and more GP5s. I wouldn't really actually want an American Mickey Mouse saying that, because I'd be paranoid about damaging it because of how rare they are. Real but deactivated, Joseph, and that's already been asked several times on the stream. Is that an anime you're sending? No, I've not seen that anyway. They're two different Avons, Culture of Critique. It'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it, if the CBRN Defense Company also made makeup, but they're different Avons. The Avon rubber that does, like, Avon protection, that does the masks, they also do things like car tires and I think dairy equipment. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, Chris. I mean, you can understand why it happens due to lobbying and, like, money cuts and potentially envelopes filled with money being given to people. But it does piss me off in the sense that people's lives are relying on that equipment. And really, they should have the best thing possible that you can afford for a decent amount of money. So when it comes down to there's something that's basically we know is not going to be fit for purpose, but it's cheap, that's defeating the point of it. If they were going to do that, they might as well say, well, we need, like, you know, decent plate carriers with trauma plates in, but we could buy surplus Kevlar level 2 vests for cheaper, so let's do that. That would be defeating the point. Scott GSR, I've not got in this room, sadly. I was looking up on the shelf, but it keeps falling off that shelf because the bag's so wide. It's in the other room, so sadly I can't get out. As in the most I've ever paid for a mask, boss, probably my XM28. I think I paid nearly £100 for that. I'm planning to go to Chernobyl next year, British Gamer, hopefully, because my dad was quite keen on going to Chernobyl. And it was weird because it was when the TV series came out, but he never watched the TV series. So I was expecting, you know, because a lot of people wanted to go after that, but he was just going, oh, can we go to Chernobyl? He's like, I'll pay half if you can we go to Chernobyl, please? Because I think he quite wants me to spend time with him now. So, you know, it's kind of a thing that if I go on holiday with him, he'll pay a load towards my holiday because he's retired and he just wants to spend time with me. A shelf tour, as in doing a video going, what's on the shelves? I might do an updated video if enough people are interested in it, just showing all the cupboards and shelves where I've got gas masks. I don't know if they're actually the exact same as the light anti-gas respirator or not. They're similar, but I don't actually know if they're identical on the GSRs. It's almost got like a ridge around that. I don't know if you can see me. Can't see me really doing that in frame, can you? But it almost looks like you've got a screw thread on the Mark IV's ones. I don't know if the lag is like that. It might be slightly different. Right, I'll do a video on that then. It'll be an easy enough video for me to make. I'll just call the video how I store my gas mask. So I'm sure it'll upset a lot of people because they'll be like the weight of that satchel's on that other satchel, but none of the valuable masks I store with other masks on top of them. But like in the wardrobe over there, I've got quite a lot of respirators just in their satchels piled up where the weight is distributed as well as possible. But yeah, if people are interested in that, I'll do a video on it. Are you able to, Charles, I don't know what country you're in, but are you able to get the British shoulder armour is quite easy to get on eBay over here. I think it's probably only like Kevlar level 2 or something, because the shoulder armour is nowhere near as good as the regular armour, because it's just designed to protect from shrapnel, I think, coming in at angles like that. Yeah, I really like the look of GSRs. That was why the first bit of merch I got Bart to draw for me was a Mark V GSR, because I've always loved the look of GSRs. To be honest, I probably prefer the look of the Mark IV to the Mark V, just because I like the stockinette look to it, and the fact it doesn't have that microphone bit on the side, at least the regular Mark IV. Yeah, Mark IV would be worth getting, Sam. The nice thing, Mark IVs are generally in better condition than Mark V, just because the stockinette they put on them. I'll get mine and bring it over, but it'd be a pain in the ass for me in a minute to put the thing there. I'll obviously hold my breath if I put it on, for obvious reasons. Look what's here. But I did put electrical tape on there, duct tape here. But yeah, you'll probably be able to see from this that the condition of the mask is actually pretty good. The rubber is still pretty supple on there because of the stockinette. Both the Mark Vs I've got are in nowhere as good condition, but the actual Mark IVs are the stockinette covering the rubber. Yeah, blue asbestos filter. It's like 2 sheets or something going across horizontally. Blue asbestos in these. Right, let me hold my breath and put this on. I obviously have not got the straps adjusted. There you go. I'm not going to tighten the straps for obvious reasons due to the fact that I don't want to get this trapped on my head and I don't want to risk damaging the elastic. But there you go. There's the British Mark IV GSR. I don't know if you can hear me at all because obviously this doesn't have a voice diaphragm and I don't know how well the XL valve works for that. But there you go, Mark IV GSR. Very cool looking mask. You can see on mine now that the hose is starting to rip a bit there because when you lift it up by the weight of the mask, it does put pressure on the thing. When Bart eventually finds it, he said I can have it. We did a DIY project where we took, because he got a Mark IV, like really cheap somewhere. I think it was in a junk shop or an antique shop. He got one for like £5, £10. So what we ended up doing is we took the hose and filter off, and then on the Mark IVs and the Mark Vs, they've got like kind of a metal, I don't know what you call it, like it's just like a pipe basically that comes out from the front. That's what the hose attaches to via wire. So we took all that off to get the pipe. Then we soldered on a 40mm GOST thread. Because what we did is we had an old ripped GP5 hose, so we cut the GP5 hose till you just had the metal bit at the bottom with a 40mm GOST intake. Then we soldered that on, and then you can actually put 40mm GOST filters on it. Not that I suppose the GP5 filter is safer to breathe through than the Mark IV's big red filter, but at the time we didn't know obviously about asbestos and GP5 filters, but it's one of those kind of funny things. But if he ever manages to dig it out, I will do videos, and I'll actually do a video putting like an FP5 filter on it or something and testing it and seeing if it works, so I'd be quite interested. I've not watched YouTube videos. I've seen quite a lot of images before, Stefan. Yeah, in Battlefield 1, it's a World War II mask. It's in Battlefield 1, and it doesn't have a filter on it. Blue's the worst asbestos, Richard. White's the least dangerous. Then it goes brown, and it goes blue. I think there may even be other colours of asbestos, but they're pretty rare. Blue asbestos is the one that's kind of the most fibrous. So it's probably the most efficient as insulation, but it's or insulation. It sounds almost like Sean Connery saying that, insulation. But it's the most damaging when it gets in your lungs, just because obviously being the most fibrous, it cuts into your lungs the most. That's in BF5, isn't it? They definitely have that in BF5. But yeah, it seems like DICE just put masks in because they look cool, not because they're practical masks of the time period. Yeah, so it's stringy, so it's best as insulation when it's together, but it does the most damage and it breaks apart the easiest. Brilliant. No, I've not played Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 1. The last Battlefield game I bought was Battlefield 3. I've also got Bad Company 2 that I sometimes play now and again on PC, and the one that was on PS3. As well as Bad Company 1. What was the one? Is it 1943? It's kind of like a remake of some of the maps from 1942. eBay, Gary. Type in Soviet civil defense posters into eBay and you can find loads like that. And you can find ones from other countries as well. But I like it because it's got lots of masks that I've got. And it's got the sizing stuff for it. As I was saying earlier in the stream, Boss Player, any full face mask that you can put a good particulate filter on. So you get a filter like this, a particulate filter, put on the full face mask. Very good protection from fallout. Won't protect you from beta and gamma, but it will protect you from inhaling alpha radiation. Oh, that's a shame. They should give me a refund for it then, shouldn't they, Sam? It's fine because I don't even play the PS3 anymore, but that does piss me off of old games where they just take the servers down. That's the thing I like about PC. If you've got, decent PC games where people can host their own servers, you never lose the ability to play it online, unlike console games. Stefan, you challenge me to speak with a Russian accent for 1 minute? It would be funny. Agree. Okay. I'm not going to time myself, but the next few questions I will read in this accent, which is probably nowhere like Russian accent, but whatever. So I wait for questions, then I answer in Russian accent. Then fairly soon I will go offline because I've been streaming 1 hour 15 minutes, which is much longer than I thought I would imagine, but I am feeling a lot better this evening. Excluzone says, fucking hilarious, mate. Preston, you asked, do you have Battlefield 5? I already say, no, I do not have Battlefield 5. You see, GP5, the filter, Soviet filter, is perfectly safe, 100% charcoal filter, no asbestos, or it is replica filter, or we remove asbestos. Please buy. 100% safe, brand new mask. I would not like to live in Soviet Russia. When I go to Chernobyl on holiday, of course I make video from exclusion zone. But in more seriousness, if I was doing stuff like that, a lot of that would be dedicated to people that died there, obviously, because I'd rather have a Kalashnikov. Or do you mean a Diak Kalashnikov or a working coffee can? I still rather have a Kalashnikov, even if it was a Diak, because it's worth a lot more. 20 quid seems a bit expensive. I mean, it'd be interesting as a proof of concept thing, wouldn't it? But I assume it's like a hollow filter, is it? That they've just made look like a GP5 filter. You are taking the P7. PMK is not as good as S10. Well, as I said before, Gary, with socialism, it really depends how it's implemented. Because I'm a fairly... If I do a political compass, I'm actually a left-wing libertarian. Basically, my opinion on a lot of things is that people should have the right to say what they want without fear of being arrested and stuff like that. People should have the right to take whatever drugs they want and stuff like that. Then you can tax stuff like that and use it towards socialized healthcare, and like community outreach kind of things. So socialism, I don't think is bad in itself, but you have to be very careful how you implement it. My least favourite NBC suit out of the ones I've got, British Game, is probably my orange Taichem suit. It's kind of a cool suit, but it makes this horrible crisp rustling packet noise whenever you walk with it. It sounds like somebody's got 1,000 crisp packets and they're just slamming them together. You love my German accent, do you, Stefan? That is fascinating. I might rewatch Dr. Strangelove, because, that is the accent I am doing when, what's his name? The blog Peter Sellers. He is doing the Dr. Strangelove accent. McVertigleben. That's the same voice he does in Lita, isn't it, as well, when he's dressed up as that, like, fake drama teacher or whatever. I think. I have to watch that clip again. But yeah, like Richard said, any political system, when you take it to the extremes, it's really bad. Yeah, that pisses me off when you've got a crisp packet. It's nice and inflated, and you think, I'm going to get loads of crisps in here. And then you get, it's like that full of crisps. I don't generally have Walker's crisps, I was saying that. I like some of Walker's, not classic Walker's crisps they do, like Sunbites and those. But some of the ones I quite like are like, like rip-off McCoy brands. There's quite a lot of real McCoys I like. real McCoys. But there's quite a lot of cheapo brands you can get, like the thick Ridge Cut crisps, which taste really nice. And I never cut myself with Ridge Cut crisps. But when you get the Walker's crisps that are quite thin, sometimes you bite them and they cut your gums. The video I'm most proud of is probably not going to be one with the most views. It's probably going to be like one of the 40-minute collection videos on like British Gas Mask, just because of the amount of time it takes to make a video like that, render it and upload it. So I'm probably most proud of doing a video like that just because I have to put the most work into doing them. Most of my popular videos, sadly, are not the ones I put the most work in, which is always the way it goes with stuff like YouTube. I could shit out a video that's probably quite crap, get loads of views on it and stuff like that, spend hours putting a video together and then nobody watches it. I bet you can get even cheaper ones, British Gamer, in Aldi. Snack Right crisps. Do you think we should ban Doritos, Peach, because they could be used in the knife crime epidemic? Somebody could just shank somebody with a Dorito. Yeah, and sadly it's been demonetized now, Sam, so I don't make anything from that video. That used to be my highest grossing video on YouTube, where every month, like month on month, that video would make me like 30 to 50 pounds. Then, like a year or two ago, YouTube demonetized it because scary air guns, and now it makes nothing. I might say that it might make 10 pence a month on their like limited ads policy. But it gets nowhere near as many views now because they've demonetized it, and obviously, as we know, if YouTube demonetizes a video, they have no interest in sharing it anymore because it's not making them money. So, yeah, it used to be a regular earner for me, but now it doesn't make me anything, and it barely gets views because YouTube decided it's a scary air gun, and it's probably teaching you to shoot up a school or something if you show somebody how to zero a scope on an air gun. Anyway, I'll finish the stream now. It's been a really good fun stream. Thank you, Laser, for all your donations. As always, I appreciate it. It's been a really good chat tonight. What, you rubbed those Doritos in somebody's eyes? Peach, have you watched Shed 17 yet? You'll enjoy that, I think, Peach, if you watch Shed 17. Oh, pepper spray Doritos. Oh, we're on to something now. These are like Castle Bravo levels of assault weapons. But yeah, thanks, Laser. Thank you, everybody that's joined in. It's been a really good chat tonight. You've cheered me up a bit because, as I said, my UC's been flaring up. It's not as bad tonight as it was yesterday anyway, but when you have a good chat and it takes your mind off the fact like, oh, my stomach constantly hurts. But yeah, cheers, Mike. Are you on Twitch tonight, Mike, or not? Because I might end up going to bed before like midnight tonight. Sadly, I don't have that mask. It's quite a shield mask. Shed 17 like that, it's a Thomas the Tank Engine parody that's really fucked up, Peach. It's in the style of David Firth's kind of stuff. You're not on Twitch, okay, I'll watch an episode of The Boys, or maybe another 2 episodes of The Boys. But thank you, everybody, and again, thank you, Laser, for donations. I always appreciate it. There you go, you can see the most recent thing I've bought with my gas mask money. There you go. Anyway, thanks, everybody. I'll say goodbye now, otherwise I'm going to keep saying goodbye for 5 minutes and never get off. But cheers, I appreciate it. I'll be on tomorrow, but I don't know what time yet. I'll announce it when I know what time I'm streaming. Maybe we'll do a theme stream tomorrow out of one of the 3 ideas people suggested. Right, see ya.